A 15-year-old boy has been charged with another teen on a subway platform yesterday.
Condolences are pouring in as loved ones leave flowers at the doorstep of slain teen Ethan Reyes. Residents in his quiet Yonkers neighborhood tell us the family only moved to the block in recent months.
The Naughty Bop. Now, like, do you feel like that is just going too far?
So for the record, this is like a dance that some kids came up with to make fun of some kid who got stabbed to death, and they're going like this.
Naughty bopping, punching my hips. Like, come here, gotta do it like this. Naughty bopping, punching my hips. Like, come here, gotta do it like this. Don't drop my shit.
You got poked, you was crying. You like, chill, I'm not a wild.
This is the naughty right here.
Back in 2022, there was this viral dance making waves on social media called the Naughty Bop. If you were scrolling through TikTok or Instagram, chances are you saw it. It was everywhere. The dance involved mimicking someone getting stabbed in the stomach, which on the surface might have looked like just another edgy trend. But there was a much darker story behind it that most people didn't know. The dance was tied to a song by Richh called Naughty Bop. When the song first dropped, it blew up immediately, racking up 500,000 views on the first day and hitting 1 million views by day 3. It even became the one trending song on YouTube Music.
Naughty bopping, punching my hips. Like, come here, gotta do it like this.
But here's the thing, this wasn't just any viral hit. The dance and the song itself were created to mock and disrespect Ethan Reyes, aka Naughty Osama, a 14-year-old OY, original Youngins drill rapper from New York. Naughty Osama had tragically lost his life in a stabbing incident with a 15-year-old opposing gang member.
A 15-year-old boy has been charged with another teen on a subway platform yesterday.
Condolences are pouring in as loved ones leave flowers at the doorstep of slain teen Ethan Reyes. Residents in his quiet Yonkers neighborhood tell us the family only moved to the block in recent months.
Instead of mourning his death, Richh and others took it as an opportunity to diss him, turning his tragic end into a joke. The disrespectful nature of the song and dance was something that hit deeply, especially for those who knew Naughty or were a part of his community. What made this trend even worse was how clueless most people were about its meaning. The Naughty Bop dance went insanely viral on TikTok, with people performing it alongside teachers, principals, police officers, and other authority figures, many of whom had no idea about the full dark context behind it.
Naughty bopping, punching my hips. Like, come here, gotta do it like this. Don't drop my. Naughty bopping, punching my hips. Like, come here, gotta do it like this. Don't drop my shit.
However, the joke didn't land everywhere. Some people who performed the dance paid the price for it, facing brutal beatdowns from Naughty's gang members and supporters who weren't letting that kind of disrespect slide. Even rapper B Lovey spoke out about it, saying that if anyone dared to do the dance in front of him, they'd catch hands. No exceptions.
If one of my mans come up to me and mark me and do that, I'm gonna slap the out of them. That's unacceptable. I'm trying to say, well, perfect to me. Everybody else do it, but me, I just think that's marking yourself, so I wouldn't do that.
There's even more to unpack here, so let's dive in deeper. To really understand this story, we have to start in Harlem, New York, specifically a part of Harlem called Sugar Hill. Now, Sugar Hill is infamous for a lot of reasons, but recently it's been known as the home turf of a gang called the OY, or Original Youngins. This gang has been at odds with a lot of other gangs in Harlem, and even more so with crews from the neighboring borough of the Bronx. Now, the Bronx drill music scene has been blowing up in the past few years. Even though Sugar Hill isn't technically in the Bronx, the OY gang has played a major role in that scene. Artists like Adot Baby and Sugar Hill Keem were some of the first OY members to hop on drill beats, and they started racking up serious views on YouTube and other platforms. Their success opened the door for other members of OY to step into the music game, and among them were two young brothers, Didi Osama and Naughty Osama. But these two weren't like your average rappers. They were kids. Naughty was just 14 years old, and his older brother Didi was only 15 when they first started dropping tracks. Despite their age, their music was raw, intense, and full of the kind of energy you'd expect from seasoned drill artists. They weren't holding back either. throwing up gang signs, dissing dead rivals, and making music that reflected the environment they were growing up in. Unfortunately, that same environment would end up changing their lives forever. On July 9th, 2022, everything came crashing down. It started off as a regular day for the brothers, with Notti and Didi hanging out together. But this wasn't just another ordinary day. It would be the last time they ever saw each other alive. By the afternoon, the two parted ways, fully expecting to meet up again later. They had no idea how drastically their reality was about to shift. It was just before 3 p.m. when Notti, along with two friends, was walking near 137th Street and Broadway. They crossed paths with a teenager named Kelvin Martinez, who was on his way into the subway station to catch an uptown train. At first, it was just words being exchanged. Things got heated quickly, turning into a full-blown verbal confrontation. But it didn't stop there. Notti and his friends decided to take things further, chasing Martinez into the station. They cornered him at the north end of the platform, leaving him with nowhere to run. At this point, things escalated fast. Notti was armed with a broomstick, which he used as a makeshift weapon, and his crew began attacking Martinez. It seemed like they thought they had the upper hand, but they made two fatal miscalculations. The first mistake was getting involved in the fight at all. The second was underestimating Martinez's reaction. Martinez wasn't just going to stand there and take the beating. He was armed, and when he realized there was no escape, he pulled out a knife. In a fight-or-flight moment, Martinez swung the blade, stabbing Notti in the abdomen.
Investigators say Martinez was cornered by Reyes and a friend, and they started beating him with the broomstick. Police say it was at that point that Martinez stabbed Reyes in the stomach.
At some point during the chaos, one of Notti's friends reportedly swung a sharp object at Martinez. This gave Notti a split second to push Martinez onto the train tracks, causing him to fall onto his back. But the fight wasn't over yet. Martinez managed to climb back onto the platform and flee the scene, leaving a bloodied and injured Notti staggering down the platform. Shortly after 3 p.m., police received a call about a stabbing at the subway station. They wasted no time responding and arrived at the scene to find a gravely wounded Notti Osama lying on the platform of the northbound 1 train. He was quickly rushed to Mount Sinai Morningside Hospital, but despite their best efforts, Notti succumbed to his injuries.
Okay, when they got here, they discovered the 14-year-old boy stabbed in the abdomen on the northbound 1 train platform. They say he was rushed to Mount Sinai St. Luke's, but unfortunately it was too late.
The stab wound he suffered had pierced his abdomen and punctured his liver, a fatal injury that no medical intervention could reverse. Just like that, a young life full of promise and potential was tragically cut short. The attack itself left many shaken, and the location of the incident, right in a busy subway station in broad daylight, only added to the shock. The streets were bustling with onlookers, and the scene was soon swarmed by concerned citizens trying to piece together what had happened. Law enforcement moved quickly to cordon off the area, securing it as a crime scene. Given the public nature of the attack and the fear it sparked among commuters, the police knew they had to act fast to prevent panic. In a press conference held soon after, NYPD Transit Chief Jason Wilcox addressed the public. He reassured everyone that they were on top of the situation, stating that they had clear surveillance footage of the incident.
MTA camera footage from that station provided clear images of individuals who were present at the time of the incident.
This footage provided a detailed description of the suspect, and officers were already combing the area to track him down. The goal was simple: find the person responsible and bring them into custody before tensions in the neighborhood escalated further. The search didn't take long. Officers were patrolling the area when one of them spotted someone matching the suspect's description near West 173rd Street and Broadway. That individual was none other than Kelvin Martinez, the teenager who had been involved in the altercation with Notti. Law enforcement wasted no time apprehending him, but the process was smoother than expected thanks to the cooperation of Martinez's mother, who assisted officers in locating and arresting her son without any resistance. When officers took Martinez into custody, they quickly noticed that he wasn't unscathed from the incident. He had injuries of his own, including a wound on his back and 2 puncture wounds on his left hip.
That individual was stopped and taken into custody. At the time, he was bleeding from his back and abdomen and brought to an area hospital to be treated.
It seemed clear that the fight hadn't been one-sided, and these injuries would later factor into how the case was handled. Martinez was taken to the hospital for treatment before being brought in for questioning by NYPD detectives and district attorney investigators. During their investigation, police recovered 2 weapons from the scene: the knife Martinez used during the fight and the broomstick that Notti had brought to the altercation. Both items were seized as critical pieces of evidence in what was quickly shaping up to be a high-profile case. Following his arrest, Martinez was charged with manslaughter and criminal possession of a weapon. New York City Mayor Eric Adams was in the area when the tragic news broke. Ironically, he had been attending an event focused on promoting public safety for children and teens. A stark contrast to the devastating reality of what had just happened. Once he was informed about the incident, Mayor Adams quickly addressed reporters at the scene, sharing his thoughts on the tragedy and the broader issue of youth violence. He acknowledged how incidents like this were tearing apart communities.
And so being here today and hearing about the stabbing really highlights why we need the lights on in schools like this.
The mayor later took to Twitter, using the platform to highlight the need for change and bringing attention to the dangerous cycle of gang violence that continues to plague the streets of New York. He promised to engage with the local community in finding solutions to prevent more young lives from being lost. Despite his good intentions, it was clear that this tragedy was a harsh reminder of just how much work was left to be done to address the deep-rooted issues causing this bloodshed. For Didi Osama, Notti's older brother, the loss hit like a ton of bricks. The two were more than just siblings. They were best friends, partners in music, and inseparable in their day-to-day lives. The pain of losing Notti was unbearable, but what made it worse was the nagging guilt that Didi couldn't shake. He couldn't help but blame himself for not being there that day, thinking that if he had been, things might have turned out differently.
Say what? Like I was just with him.
Yeah.
Like, that's why I said, like, bro, shit, still thinking, like, what if I stayed?
At the time, Didi and Notti were riding a wave of momentum in their music careers. Together, they were gaining traction as rising stars in the drill music scene, quickly building a name for themselves as the next big thing to come out of Sugar Hill. The fame, the money, and everything they had worked so hard for suddenly felt meaningless without Notti by his side. The grief consumed Didi, and it began to affect every aspect of his life. He stopped going to school because the vibe just wasn't the same anymore. Everything reminded him of Notti, the music, the streets, the people they knew. It was like a piece of himself had been ripped away, leaving a void that nothing could fill. In an effort to process his grief and honor his brother's memory, Didi channeled his pain into his music. He released 2 emotional tracks dedicated to Notti, a solo track called Letter to Notti and a group track titled E4N, which stands for Everything for Notti. The latter featured their close friend Jay Starbala and other affiliates, coming together to pay tribute to their fallen brother. These songs weren't just about mourning Notti's death, they were about celebrating his life, his spirit, and everything he stood for. Didi Osama, along with Sugar Hill Dada and the rest of their crew, vowed to keep Notti's legacy alive. Together, they formed a tight-knit group that became known as the Three Demons. Notti Osama was more than just a rapper in Sugar Hill. Even at just 14 years old, he had earned a deep level of respect from his peers and community. His influence wasn't just about his music. It was about his presence, his energy, and how he carried himself. In the gang culture that shaped their world, his name held weight. So when Notti was tragically offed, retaliation was inevitable. That's just how things worked in that environment. But the gang culture that promised to honor Notti's name in retaliation also fueled a vicious cycle. Instead of allowing space for mourning, his rivals saw his death as an opportunity to mock and taunt. It didn't take long for the disrespect to surface in the most public and unremorseful ways possible. One of the most blatant and cruel acts of mockery came in the form of a song titled NOTTI BOP. The track, created by Richh and featuring Tata and Jen Carter, wasn't just a diss. It was a full-on insult designed to humiliate Notti's memory. The song's lyrics graphically detailed the tragic events surrounding Notti's death. But what took it to an even more disgusting level was the dance that accompanied it. The NOTTI BOP dance mimicked the act of being stabbed in the stomach, reenacting Notti's fatal wound. To make matters worse, the track and dance blew up on social media, particularly on TikTok, where it quickly went viral. The catchy beat and dance moves fooled thousands of people into participating without realizing the full dark context behind it. Teachers, kids, celebrities, NBA players, and even law enforcement officers unknowingly joined in, thinking it was just another trendy dance challenge.
Notti bopping, punching my hips. Like, come here, gotta do it like this. Don't drop my...
But for those who understood the real meaning, the viral trend was like rubbing salt in a fresh wound. It wasn't just disrespectful, It was deeply painful for Notti's family, friends, and community to see his death turned into a joke. His rivals, however, had no intention of showing any remorse. They leaned into the mockery, using knives as props and gleefully performing the NOTTI BOP dance to celebrate his death. Social media became flooded with videos of people taunting Notti's supporters, dancing, laughing, and reveling in the tragedy. It was pure cruelty, a new low in the already brutal world of drill music beefs. For Notti's loved ones, this was almost unbearable to watch. The disrespect was everywhere, and it was loud. But in the drill rap culture, this wasn't entirely new. Sadly, Notti himself had been a part of this cycle. Before his passing, Notti had been known to diss his rivals, both the living and the dead, in his music. His track 41K was aimed directly at Kyle Richh's crew, 41, and was filled with taunts and threats. In the world of drill rap, dissing your ops was part of the game. It was almost expected, even if it was dangerous. Since the tragic passing of Notti Osama, his older brother Didi Osama has made it his mission to carry on Notti's legacy, pushing forward in the music world with unmatched determination. In a short span of time, Didi has managed to achieve what many artists only dream of, racking up millions of views and streams across platforms with his raw, emotional tracks. His rise in the music industry has been meteoric, and it's clear that Notti's influence remains a driving force behind everything Didi does. One of the most remarkable milestones in Didi's career came when major labels like Sony started knocking on his door. They saw the potential in him, his undeniable talent, and the massive fan base he was building. Rumors of multi-million-dollar record deals being discussed began circulating, and fans couldn't help but think about how proud Notti would have been to see his brother reaching these heights. It's bittersweet though. For Didi, the success comes with the heavy burden of loss. But despite it all, he's using his music to turn the pain into purpose. However, as much as Didi is thriving in his career, the specter of gang culture continues to loom over him. Many who care about him are hoping he can steer clear of the violence and pitfalls that claimed his brother's life. The drill scene, while offering a platform for their voices, is also deeply entangled with the street life that breeds conflict and danger. For Didi, the challenge now is staying focused on the music and avoiding the traps that so often come with fame in this world. Meanwhile, the legal case surrounding Notti's tragic death has taken unexpected turns. The suspect, Kelvin Martinez, originally faced a charge of first-degree manslaughter for the fatal altercation with Notti. However, Martinez's legal team argued that he acted in self-defense, a claim bolstered by his assertion that he had been by Notti weeks before the deadly incident. The case unraveled further when evidence, including witness testimonies and surveillance footage, came under scrutiny. By October 2022, the Manhattan District Attorney's Office announced that all criminal charges against Martinez had been dropped. A spokesperson for the office explained that prosecutors were unable to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Martinez's actions weren't in self-defense. Notti's potential was undeniable. Even at such a young age, he showcased a natural talent for rapping, commanding the mic with a presence that few could ignore. His energy, charisma, and raw delivery hinted at a future as one of the next big names in drill music. But in the world he lived in, where the streets often dictated the rules, that potential was cut short in a single moment of conflict.